Greetings everyone, my name is Tony Holowitz, and in this tutorial I want to talk to you about some of the differences between scheduling in Act versus scheduling on the Microsoft Outlook calendar. So I have a client that is trying to come to terms with all the information that she is putting into Act software. One of the first things I said to her is she has a laptop computer. I said, there's a huge advantage if you have a second monitor. And this is advice I offer to everyone. Everyone should at a minimum have two monitors that they're working on in their office when they're working with Act, or any software for that matter. Try to imagine if you have Act on one screen and Microsoft Outlook on the other, or maybe you have the internet on the other, or maybe you have QuickBooks open on the other. It just gives you the ability to see more and do more. And some of the things you might think are complicated or you can't work with because you have to jump back and forth, something like QuickBooks could always be open on the other screen. So have two monitors. Now, having said that, I want to talk to you about the scheduling aspect. So right here, I'm in a demo database and I'm at a contact named Chris Huffman. You'll notice Chris Huffman has a lot of information down below. I want to draw your attention right up here to the latest activities. When you do things in Act and clear them, it creates a record of the date that that event happened. So it could be a call, a meeting, a to-do, anything like that. So one of the advantages of scheduling and clearing things in Act is the history that gets created. But sometimes, quite frankly, you don't need that information. So let me give you an example. Let's say that Chris Huffman was tasked with having to pick up milk on the way home. Well, what Chris could do is you could come in and schedule this. So let's go up and let's click on even just a meeting. Let's call it a meeting because he's got to go to the store at 5 o'clock. So the meeting is milk, and we're going to schedule it for 5 o'clock for today. So we already have the 22nd. I'm going to change the time. I'm going to go down and I'm going to change it to 5 p.m. Pick up milk. What's the duration? Maybe the duration isn't that long. Maybe it's only a 30-minute thing by the time you drive there, get in, get out, get home. It's a 30-minute process. You want to block a half hour of your time to pick up milk. So now, Chris, we're going to schedule this event for Chris. I'm going to click Save. Now, let's make the assumption that Chris comes out or in the next day and that event has been done. So he went, picked up milk. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the screen so that now down below you will see the task for picking up milk. Okay, and if you notice, let me flip this around so we schedule this and you see the most recent items. There it is right there, pick up milk. Now all I did, just so you know, is I clicked on the column headings to sort the items based on the date that they were scheduled. Okay, so very simple. Here it is, 4/22/24. So now Chris has completed that task. So what do you do next? Well, I'm going to clear this task because I want to note that it was completed, and I want to create a historic record of that having happened. So now we're going to see that the meeting was held. We're going to clear this meeting. It's going to create historic record, and I'm going to put in, 1% low-fat milk. And we're done. And I'm going to click Save. Okay. So a couple of things are going to happen here. One, I'm going to refresh the screen. I'm going to press the F5 key. You will notice that after I look at the meeting date, now the meeting date reflects today's date that it was done. Now I got to be honest with you. That was a lot of work for just picking up milk. You had to go in, you had to schedule it, you had to put a bunch of information in, and you then had to go in and clear it to get it off your calendar and create a record of that. I would never do it that way. Personally, what I would do is as follows. I would simply go into Microsoft Outlook. I would go to a calendar for whatever day. I'd come here, just type in milk, click away from it, and I'm done. That's all I have to do. So why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this because sometimes there are things that we schedule in Act that are frankly just not that important. Picking up milk is one of them. So if you have things you need to do in Act with a specific contact record that you want to create a record or a history of that event having occurred and been done, then it's important you go in and go through the steps of scheduling it. and then clearing it. I have some people that I've worked with, they never clear their items, hence they don't know whether it was done. Now, in the grand scheme of things, they have stuff that's so old, we can assume it was done, but how do we know that? By clearing it, especially if it's something like phone calls. Let's say you need to make 25 phone calls next Friday and they're all scheduled. The only way you're going to keep track of having done those calls, because you can lose track of who you've called and who you haven't called, is by clearing them as you go through them. But when it's just something simple, like pick up milk, play basketball, go, talk to a neighbor, whatever it might be, just put it in Outlook. What I do quite often is I'll come into a Saturday, and when I'm doing a list, I'll just put in things like, golf, paint, whatever it might be. And I can come in and I can put in all kinds of things here and just have a running record. The other thing that's nice about working with Outlook, it's so easy to move things around. So if the golf gets changed to Sunday, I can just drag it to another date, and that's all I need to do. So there are moments where Act is really the tool for scheduling, and there are moments when Outlook is a better tool for scheduling. So that's what I wanted to illustrate to you. And I just use the calendar as a running list. And a lot of times I'll put just sort of general things that I got to get done during my week. I'll throw them all in on Saturday. And if I know I'm going to get it done on Tuesday, what I'll do is I'll just drag it over, and now I've blocked that time in my calendar. So use Saturday or Sunday from a business point of view as a time where you're just making a list of things, and then drag them to fill in the slots when they fit. And that way, it helps you become a little more organized and keeps you on task, and it makes sure the time you're taking inside of Act to schedule things is time well spent. Okay, my friends, you have a great day. Be well. Bye now.